What's up, family? Welcome to the video. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I want to do something a little bit different. Today I'm going over tips on how to be a better jungler, stuff to look for. I especially think that this video is very helpful to those of you trying to get into Smite. As of right now, I believe that Smite is in a good state. The developers are listening to our feedbacks a lot. Without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you guys want to see more tips and tricks and kind of like how to go from a noob to a pro on jungling or solo lane, please let me know. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. Those are very much appreciated. Any of your support is appreciated, and I will see you guys in a bit. We're starting things off with tip number one, prioritizing farming objectives. Take note of my decision making and route throughout this entire clip. As you can see, I start off with the backs, I then head over to speed, and basically throughout this entire clip, I'm just kind of prioritizing my farm here, looking at my map constantly, looking at where my lane pressure is at. Here you see that I ping Anubis, knowing that the gold harpies are up, but at the same time I see Loki. I wait until Loki finishes his abilities, so that way I can easily secure the gold fury camp. Also, take note, look how I'm looking around here. I'm constantly looking at my minimap, making sure that Baron wasn't following Anubis, and now I see that Loki is going for the gank at left. Our teammates are pushed up, but I can see they're handling it well. So now I see that the back camps of Loki's are also up, which then turns into more XP for me, more gold for me, and less XP for Loki, and less gold for him. That way, I'm just furthering my lead on Loki, and now I'm going to speed this up, showing you my rotations, looking at middle, checking lanes. I don't see Loki here. Easy gank. I also noticed Neith backflip, which is her only escapability from me. However, she did go in the bushes, so I tried to jump her, trying to stun her. I didn't get the stun. Still trying to prioritize Neith here. Because the more behind the ADC gets in the other team, the better it is for us in the late game and the more chances is of us winning. Now, since we can't get Neith, we went ahead and went on Bellona. That's a very nice wall from Ymir. And now we're backing off because Neith is pretty far. She has her backflip again. And more time in this lane is just going to kill our XP and gold. So I just quickly rotate to purple. And I'm actually going to let my dual lane have the XP here because I see that they're winning lane. And they can also have the potential to carry this game. So looking at my minimap again, I see that my back camps are up. Went ahead and started doing this. And here again, I'm just constantly just trying to farm, trying to see where my lane is at. Always looking at my minimap as much as I can. And now I also see that my other side back camps are up. And looking at my gold, I have 1,100 gold, which is not enough for my tier 3 item. So I went ahead and tried to keep on farming. Again, the emphasis on farming, especially in the early game, is super important. So went ahead and did the other side back camps. Now I'm going to go ahead and rotate to red and blue and see if I can get XP from there. Unfortunately, it looks like Loki did invade our camps. So I went ahead and see if this red is also coming up. I went ahead and got the timer on it. I see it's 30 seconds. Baron is in mid, lane pushed up, so it's a very low chance of me getting the kill from Baron. So now I'm trying to invade, see if red is up. I highlight my ability, doesn't seem like red is up, but luckily I see Loki here. So I went ahead and engaged on Loki knowing that he doesn't see me from behind. And I tried to ult him, although he went invisible and I lost him, it still resulted in this little rotation from Chalk, thus furthering a little more pressure in solo lane. Amma was able to easily get these Warhorned minions, and Chalk is forced to back off. And now Amma and I can get free gold camp. So, now I want you to pay attention to what just happened. I started these two back camps into speed, into Gold Fury camps, into Loki's camps, into then a rotation to the duo lane, engaged there, went ahead and rotated back to my camps, back to the other side camps, checked red and blue, wasn't there, checked mid, nothing was there, checked Loki and the other side, was able to grab solo lane and its camps, all that in 3 minutes and 14 seconds. In that time, I went from level 2 to 6, added lane pressure to my lanes, and went from 180 to 1541 gold. Now that all happened, all because of me prioritizing farm. Even though I saw Loki gank left lane, I saw that he didn't have a kill, teammates didn't need help, so I went ahead and invaded his camps. That way, I got more XP, and he lost XP. Second thing is, I have constant map awareness. I'm always checking my minimap. I'm always checking which camps may be up. I'm always checking where my lane pressure is at, seeing if my middle needs help, seeing if the Baron rotates, and not doubting my decision making. And lastly, I always checked timers. My jungle, Loki's jungle, I always want to be aware of when camps are up. As a jungler, it is your priority to be there when they are about to respawn and to get the XP and extra gold. Moving on to tip number 2, engaging at the correct time. Pay attention to what I do in their jungle. They don't know I'm behind them, so I see them fighting in middle lane. Ymir says enemy ultimate down. I went ahead and engage on Loki. 3 him. He ults, so I know he has no escapability from my ult. I went ahead and ult him and gave Anubis a free kill. Just me knowing that Loki ulted and he is basically a free kill kind of just shows the game knowledge you should have as a jungler, and just to be able to recognize the situation and make the best out of it. After that, I went ahead and invade this back camp, which brings me back to my first point of prioritizing your farm. But the key thing to take away here is when I engage at the correct time. Which brings me to my next point, tip number 3, which is to not spam your abilities. Now watch closely as I gank this duo lane. I see that Neith is in low health. She's my target, she blinks, she backflips, she now no longer has any escapability. I kill her, I go on Bellona, and I'm not just spamming my abilities, I'm using it with a purpose. I see that Bellona has no getaway, so I stun in front of her. And from here, again, prioritizing our farm, we go ahead and grab the objectives, and I'm just going to speed this up just to show you that I'm still prioritizing my farm. I'm still trying to go for objective kills here, while at the same time ganking dual lanes effectively and just timing my abilities and having all that map awareness. Here's another example of me ganking middle lane. Here's Baron in the mid lane. He doesn't really know I'm here. I go ahead with my 3. He beads. Knowing that he beads, he can't beat my ult anymore. So I went ahead and popped my ult. Just another example of just me not spamming my ability. I don't go into the fight with an ult right away. So some key takeaway with these tips are using your abilities and active items wisely, and especially using your relic. If you have Blink as a jungler, you have the advantage of being able to catch up to them or escape. Making sure you use that active item wisely can make or break a team fight or even a solo free kill. I want to emphasize, as you keep track of your own abilities, is also as equally important in keeping track of the enemy's abilities and cooldowns. As you saw in the previous clip from the gank in dual lane, we saw that Neith blinked and backflipped, which indicated to me that she has no more escapability, which means she should be a free kill. We got her, and it was also a free kill on Bellona, which gives our dual lane a major advantage. Moving on to tip number 4, we have communicating. And I want to touch on particularly VGS commands. Now, VGS commands in Smite are extremely important. If you don't want to be in a voice chat, VGS commands are your go-to. However, that does require a little bit of memorization from you and a little bit of experience. But I do recommend 100,000,000% that you should definitely know your VGS commands as you play the game, especially if you're playing Conquest, as it'll help you as a jungler and especially your teammates to know when they're ganking, when they are pushing lanes, when you have to defend, when you have to get Gold Fury. It's just a essential part of Smite. Now, I want to give you guys some common VGS commands that I think junglers especially use a lot. Feel free to pause the video or take screenshots. I got this from the Smite website. Here's the attack VGS commands. Here are the be careful VGS commands. You can say be careful left if you think they're ganking left, be careful right if you think they're ganking right. But if you want to gank, here's also the gank Smite VGS commands. Now let me show you an example of how important VGS commands are. I tell Baron in the early game to be careful middle because I want to let him know that I'm not ganking, I'm invading. So I go ahead and invade this Thanatos' red. We see him in the jungle, and now Baron is coming, and I don't know that Soul's coming too. So he tells me the enemy's incoming, in which I react to that by retreating and not dying. He essentially saved my life, all because of that one VGS command. And now I went invis and essentially was able to live. Moving on to tip number 5, which is to familiarize yourself with items and matchups. Now, take a look at this screen right here. I'm Loki the jungler, and my matchups are Baron, who has a CC ult, Odin, who has a CC ult, Thanatos, who can kill me from an execution, Soul, who has a slow, Jing, who has a knockup, and essentially, I would have to pick, do I want Blink to be aggressive here? Do I want Beads? Do I want Aegis for Thanatos' ult? Do I want Odin, or do I want Phantom Chill for Odin? These things are things you have to consider as you load into the game. So already before the game even starts, you already have to kind of get your mind rolling. You have to start thinking, what do I want to go? How do I counter and outplay most of my matchups? Obviously, if you go one over another, you won't be able to counterplay an Odin's Cage if you went Beads. You won't be able to counter a Thanatos Xe if you went Blink. But learning how to counterplay with what you have is an essential part of the jungle, and at the same time, learning your matchups with knowledge and experience of the game will help you become a better jungler. Now to the most important tip on how to become the best jungler you can is to have fun. One bad game does not mean you're a bad jungler. Just because you went over 10 in a match does not mean you are not a good jungler. The key to getting better is to fail. So that means just because you're 0-10, learn from those mistakes. Don't just brush it off, right? You went 0-10, obviously your teammates are mad at you, but why did you go 0-10? Was there something you could have done better? Was it your route taking? Was it the matchup? What could you have done with that matchup to turn the tables a little bit? Could you have worked with your teammates better? Things like that are things to consider when you have a bad game. Don't kind of just brush it off, but at the same time, don't beat yourself up for it. The bad games are what is going to make or break you being a better jungler. So just because, again, you have one bad game, what's important is you just keep having fun, keep doing what you're doing, and eventually you'll be an amazing jungler. You know all these VGS commands, and just keep applying the same tips that I gave you throughout this entire video. Those are all the tips I have for you guys today, and some key notes. If you guys did enjoy, I do have a few more that I can share with you guys. If you guys want a part 2 of this, of how to be a better jungler, feel free to like, subscribe, let me know what you think of the video. Give me a like, comment, anything helps the channel. But other than that, I hope you guys have a good day. I will always see you later, family, and enjoy.